How did the love of your life almost get away? My friends dragged me along to the concert. They said I've been miserable and unbearable since breaking up with my girlfriend. I did not particularly like being around these friends at this moment in time, as they were a couple and I did not like being a third. Well, just 2 weeks after getting dumped, it was the gig of an indie band and the crowd was around 100 people. Barry told me to turn my frown upside down and Julie got us beers. We stood near the back and drank our beers. The band was okay, but nothing special. Barry and Julie talked about the venue. In the band, they kept trying to drag me into conversation, but I wasn't feeling very talkative. I missed my ex-girlfriend and just wanted to salt. I excused myself and headed towards the bathroom. On the way back, a girl suddenly turned and spilled her beer over my shirt. She apologized multiple times, pulled her sleeve over her hand, and started wiping my chest with a tissue she pulled from her bag. I told her it was okay and that I didn't like the shirt anyway. I said my ex-girlfriend had got it for me and she laughed. This girl was attractive in a way that I cannot exactly pinpoint, in a way completely different from how I found my ex-girlfriend attractive. Her name was Sarah. She said her friends had dragged her along to the gig. We agreed the band was nothing special and then started talking about life. She worked as a cashier in a clothes store and lived in the next town over. I told her I worked in a shoe store but painted in my spare time. She asked if I would like to paint her and winked. My cheek started burning. The conversation continued and it turned out we had similar taste in music and television. We also both liked camping and running in marathons. At the other side of the venue, I saw Barry and Julie teasing me by mimicking bedroom activities. The girl said she had to get back to her friends and my heart sank a little. It rose again when she asked if I wanted to take her number. I told her I thought she already knew the answer and handed over my phone. Sarah put her number into my phone, said she looked forward to hearing from me, and strutted back over to her friends who were all sizing me up with mischievous facial expressions. When I got back to Barry and Julie, they smugly asked if I was now glad I had listened to them and attended the concert. After the concert, we got food at KFC and then I went back to my apartment. I sat on my bed and decided to send Julie a text reiterating how great it had been to meet her. A part of me thought this was far too soon to text and worried I would freak her out, but I already missed talking to her and wanted to keep things moving between us as quickly as possible. However, as I scrolled through my contacts, I realized I could not find her number. I looked through my contacts again and still could not see the number. I realized she must have forgotten to hit save while entering her number and I've been stupid enough not to double check at the moment before falling asleep that night. I blinked back tears and cursed myself for being such an idiot. The following morning I decided I could not let a technological screw-up keep me away from this girl. I tried looking her up online based on what I knew about her from the conversation. The social media produced nothing. And then I remembered Sarah had casually mentioned during our conversation that she tried to stay away from social media for the sake of her mental health. I shut my laptop, grabbed my coat, and left my apartment. I got the bus into all the neighboring towns and checked out every single closed door, 12 in total. I asked staff members in every store if they had any coworkers called Sarah. I contacted the gig venue and asked if she had bought her ticket online and if they could share her contact information with me. They said no with a slightly concerned tone and abruptly ended the call. Deflated, I returned home and tried to figure out my next move. Barry called me over a few nights later. He asked how things had been going with the girl and I explained the entire situation. Barry expressed sympathy about the mess up with her phone number but discouraged me from pursuing the girl further. He said I was probably just desperate for a quick rebound and could find somebody else rather than obsessively searching for a girl I had a short conversation with at a gig. I told Barry he didn't know what he was talking about. This was more than a quick rebound. I felt a real connection with this girl. Things got a bit awkward then Barry was the one who wasn't very talkative and I struggled, drawing him into the conversation as he left. I said we would talk soon and Barry just told me to look after myself. I texted Julie stating that Barry was in a strange, unsupportive mood, but she never replied. The following week, just as I got home from work, my ex-girlfriend called and asked for a meetup. We met at a diner, sat in a booth by the corner, and ordered 2 coffees. Tracy, my ex, admitted she had made a mistake by ending our relationship. She asked to get back together, and although I felt a flash of hesitation due to the lingering hope I held for finding Sarah, I said yes to my ex-girlfriend. We talked through some issues, and the reasons for our breakup, and then got back together right there in the diner. She moved her stuff back into my apartment that night. Weeks passed, and I mostly stopped thinking about Sarah. I still thought about her occasionally passing and wondered what could have been, but the intense longing and heartbreak had stopped. The awkwardness with Barry and Julie also faded. I even had them over for dinner with me and Tracy on more than one occasion. We ate, talked, and laughed like the breakup had never happened. One night, as we got ready for bed, Tracy asked me if I had hooked up with anyone while we'd been broken up, or if I had been tempted by anybody I knew. Barry and Julie had not told her anything. They were more my friends than hers, and they would have told me if anything had slipped out about Sarah. I told Tracy I'd only thought about her during our breakup and she seemed very pleased with my answer. I thought that would be the end of the drama in my life until I ran into Sarah at the same gig venue a few weeks later. I was getting drinks at the bar while Tracy, Barry, and Julie sat at a table by the door. Sarah exited the bathroom, saw me, and walked straight over. My heart started beating very fast, the same way it had on the night we met. She asked me why I'd never called and I said her number had not been saved in my phone. She offered to put the number in again and I told her I had gotten back together with my girlfriend. She looked across the bar and her eyes landed on the friends I had attended the venue with on the night we first met. She then correctly summarized that the third individual, Tracy, was my girlfriend. Sarah asked me if I was happy with Tracy and I said I was. I apologized for the unfortunate way things had gone between us. I told her all the ways I tried to find her after realizing the number wasn't on my phone. Sarah said she had quit the clothes store the day after we met due to its bad management and gone to work in a jewelry store. She then said my actions weren't those of somebody who was still in love with his girlfriend. She said that my actions were those of somebody who wanted to move on and it made a proper connection with somebody else. She told me to take her number again, to call her if I ever changed my mind and realized what I wanted. So I took it. When I got back to my friends, Tracy asked me who the girl at the bar was and I told her she was a customer who I served at work earlier in the day. Back at our apartment, I sat down in my office, took out my materials, and started painting. I did not have any specific vision in mind when I started. I was just putting colors on the palette. As I added pink to the random collage of colors, Tracy walked into the office. She put her hands on my shoulders and said I should consider giving up painting. She said I was never going to make any money from it. She also said she needed to be honest with me and said it just wasn't very good. I told my girlfriend she was probably right, dumped my progress, and put my materials away. I acted like everything was fine, even though on the inside I was undergoing a significant emotional transformation. I was starting to realize that Sarah was right. The following morning, after a sleepless night, I went out on my balcony and called Sarah. I told her that I needed to see her. That was 5 years ago, and we've been together ever since.